Have you ever felt like something is blocking your life from moving forward, like no matter how hard you pray, affirm, or try to think positively, things just stay the same? What if I told you that the problem isn't in your desires, but in your frequency? Yes, right now, you may be unknowingly rejecting the very miracle you've been asking God for. Because when your vibration doesn't match what you're praying for, heaven can't release it into your life. This isn't just emotional, it's spiritual law. And here's the truth most people never hear in church. You don't receive what you want, you receive what you are. The universe, created by the breath of God, mirrors your dominant energy, not your wishes, not your words, but the state of your soul. If your heart is vibrating in fear while your mouth says faith, your reality will always reflect confusion, delay, and spiritual frustration. But today, everything can change. In this video, you're going to discover the biblical and scientific key that unlocks a quantum shift in your life. You'll understand how to align your spirit with God's higher frequency, collapse the barriers holding you back, and manifest breakthroughs in your relationships, your purpose, and even your healing, all through alignment, not effort. So don't go anywhere, because if you miss even one part of this message, you may miss the exact answer your soul has been crying out for. Before we begin, let me ask you something. Are you subscribed to this channel? Statistics show that most people who watch our videos haven't subscribed yet. And if that's you, let me encourage you right now to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We release spiritual revelations like this every week that can completely shift your life. And I don't want you to miss the next divine message prepared for you. Let's begin. The frequency of your future is already calling. The only question is, will you tune in? It's common these days to hear phrases like, just visualize it and it will come, or write it down 33 times and manifest your dream. While these methods hold emotional power, many are still left feeling disillusioned, wondering why the life they desire never materializes. You see, the misunderstanding isn't in the intention, but in the energetic premise. When someone declares they want to attract something, they unknowingly affirm its absence. They affirm that it's far, that it's not here, not now, not theirs. And from a quantum perspective, that creates what we call a vibrational dissonance, a mismatch between your current energetic state and the reality you wish to live in. The heart cries for abundance, but the soul is tuned to lack. That's the very frequency gap that keeps the manifestation suspended outside of reach, like a dream floating just beyond the veil. We need to understand this deeply. In the realm of quantum spirituality, especially when integrated with epigenetics and neuroplasticity, intention alone isn't enough. There must be emotional congruence, a sacred resonance between what the soul believes and what the body feels. It's like trying to listen to God's whisper through a static-filled radio. The message may be pure, but the signal is blurred. In Romans 12:2, we're reminded, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But that renewal isn't merely cognitive. It is energetic, emotional, and spiritual. The divine doesn't respond to begging or insistence. It responds to coherence, to that silent, unwavering faith that says, it is already done. When we pray from despair, we often unknowingly affirm separation. But when we enter the inner silence, rest in presence, and align our vibration with trust, we begin collapsing the illusion of distance. This is the mystical language of the quantum field, where the law of assumption plays a central role. We must stop asking the universe from a place of absence and start embodying the version of ourselves that has already received. Jesus spoke in this frequency when he said, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Mark 11:24. Did you catch that? Believe that you have received it, not believe that one day it will come. The shift happens in the now. You're not begging a reluctant God. You're stepping into alignment with divine design. Every prayer is answered not according to words, but according to vibrational alignment. That's why conscious manifestation isn't about chasing miracles. It's about tuning into what is already present, but veiled by disbelief. Let's reflect for a moment. Many carry limiting beliefs inherited from culture, religion, or trauma, like, I'm not worthy, God helps others, not me, or I need to prove myself before I receive. These silent scripts become the emotional background of our field of manifestation. But true inner healing, true soul awakening, begins when we look these beliefs in the eye and say, you no longer speak for me. This is mental reprogramming, and it is holy work. As we replace these patterns with positive affirmations, meditation, and daily surrender, we raise our vibrational frequency, and that frequency becomes our invitation to the next dimension of reality. The more we practice visualization, not as wishful thinking, but as embodiment, the more we start to witness small shifts, micro-transformations, that whisper, you're on the right path. So the next time you sit down with your journal or whisper your desires into a prayer, remember, the universe doesn't respond to desperation. It doesn't move because you want. It moves because you become. Let your breath be conscious, your heart be still, and your spirit be aligned. Begin to feel the emotional vibration of the outcome now. Don't wait for a sign to believe. Believe, and the signs will appear. Because manifestation, dear one, isn't about attracting something far away. It's about remembering what your soul already knows and letting your energy field catch up. And once that shift begins, it opens the door to something much deeper. Many people spend their lives chasing blessings as if they were distant stars, shining somewhere far beyond reach. But the quantum perspective of manifestation invites a different truth, one that stirs something deep within the soul. The things we long for, peace, purpose, love, abundance, aren't out there waiting to be caught. They're already here, in a parallel vibrational frequency, waiting for us to tune in. This idea may feel radical, but it echoes a deeper spiritual truth found in Luke 17:21, where Jesus says, "The kingdom of God is within you." What if your desired reality was never meant to be chased but aligned with? What if your greatest prayer has already been answered and your role is simply to step into resonance with it? This is where the shift begins, from attraction to alignment. In the language of the quantum field, everything already exists in potential. Every version of your life is present. Yes, even the one where you are healed, fulfilled, aligned with your soul's purpose, living in coherence between heart and mind. You're not manifesting something new. You're choosing to embody a different dimension of yourself. That's why the journey isn't forward, it's inward. When your vibrational frequency shifts, your field of consciousness reorganizes itself to reflect that new signal. This isn't magic, it's divine technology. The field responds to who you are, not to what you wish for. And what determines who you are? Not just your thoughts, but your beliefs, your emotions, your daily rituals, your energetic presence. Alignment requires integrity between what you think, feel, and act upon. That's why superficial affirmations don't work when spoken from a place of inner conflict. You can say, "I am abundant" 100 times, but if your heart feels fear and your body holds trauma, your frequency remains anchored in lack. True alignment requires healing. It asks you to sit in the inner silence, to feel the edges of your discomfort, and to gently recalibrate. Through tools like guided meditation, creative visualization, and gratitude journaling, you begin to harmonize with the version of you that already walks in your answered prayer. This process is subtle and sacred. It's like tuning a spiritual radio station. At first there's static, then suddenly the music comes through. That's what it feels like when you finally align with the holographic reality of your higher self. You may still live in the same city, work the same job, speak with the same people, but everything feels different. Life begins to respond in whispers, synchronicities, moments of deep peace, unexpected doors opening. These are signs that you've begun to inhabit the frequency of your prayer. You've stopped striving and started vibrating. You've stopped chasing and started becoming. So instead of thinking about what you want to get, begin asking, who do I need to become to live this truth now? And then start living it. Breathe like it, walk like it, think and serve and rest like it. That's conscious manifestation in its truest form. The soul's journey isn't to gather things. It's to remember its original frequency. The more you align with that truth, the more the quantum field opens, revealing that what once felt distant was never far at all. It was always within, waiting patiently for you to return. Let's pause and reflect. How often do we pray for change while clinging tightly to the very identity that resists it? This is one of the deepest paradoxes on the spiritual path. Many people ask the universe for love, abundance, purpose, but within, their identity is still rooted in fear, shame, or unworthiness. And here's the sacred truth. The universe doesn't respond to your desires. It responds to your frequency. You manifest not what you want, but who you are. As Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not in his lips, not in his journals, but in his heart." The language of the quantum field is vibration, not vocabulary. And if your dominant energy is, "I'm not ready," or "I'm not enough," that becomes the signal you send into the energy field. Now imagine trying to tune into a divine station with two radios on at once, one playing affirmations, the other humming doubt. Which signal do you think the universe will follow? Exactly, the stronger one. And in most people, that stronger frequency isn't faith, it's fear. That's why results often remain elusive, not because you're doing something wrong, but because your inner alignment is off. It's not enough to recite positive affirmations if your body still trembles with anxiety. That's why emotional healing is not optional, it is foundational. Identity is not about labels, it's about energetic alignment. Who are you when no one's watching? What stories do you whisper to yourself in the dark? Until those inner narratives shift, your conscious manifestation will remain inconsistent. This is where deep spiritual practice begins. Identity is shaped through repetition, through choices made in the unseen. You become a vibrational match to your prayers through daily rituals of alignment, rising with intention, practicing guided meditation, speaking positive affirmations into your nervous system, anchoring your mornings in conscious breathing. These are not routines, they are sacred recalibrations. Slowly, they rewire your neuroplasticity, dissolve limiting beliefs, and form new epigenetic expressions of your soul's original design. Identity, then, is no longer a mask. It becomes a mirror, reflecting your divine potential into form. In Scripture, we see this transformation again and again. Think of Gideon. When God called him a mighty warrior in Judges 6:12, Gideon still saw himself as the weakest in his clan. His outer life didn't shift until he accepted the identity God had already spoken over him. Just like Gideon, many of us reject the spiritual identity we are called into because it contradicts the pain story we've believed for so long. But true transformation begins when you stop living from your past and start choosing from your future. That's where heart-brain coherence is born, when your heart and mind agree on one spiritual truth. So if your reality seems stuck, don't just ask, "What do I want?" Ask, "Who am I being?" Sit with that question. Let it stir you. Let it uncover the parts of you still waiting to be seen, accepted, and aligned. Your soul is not asking you to chase desires. It's inviting you to embody your prayer. And as your identity shifts, so does your world. But this isn't the end. There's more to this sacred unfolding. There's a profound difference between wanting something and being able to hold it. Many ask for love, peace, or purpose, but few realize their vibrational signature is still shaped by fear, control, or lack. You cannot receive what your energy cannot contain. This is why embodiment is the true gateway to conscious manifestation. The quantum field doesn't respond to longing, it responds to readiness. And readiness isn't a mental checklist, it's an emotional posture, a spiritual resonance that says, "I've already become the vessel for what I desire." This is the sacred work of becoming emotionally compatible with the life you say you want. Otherwise, you keep knocking on doors you've locked from the inside. Let's anchor this truth in a biblical moment. In John 5:6, Jesus approaches a man who had been sick for 38 years and asks a strange question, "Do you want to be made well?" It seems obvious, but it reveals a deeper law. Healing requires alignment. Many want the miracle, but not the shift in identity it demands. To embody your healing, you must leave behind the familiarity of pain. To walk in love, you must release the armor of fear. That's why many people repel the very things they crave. They haven't yet become a safe place for those things to live. Your vibrational frequency is like a spiritual password. It determines what you can access in the quantum field. And embodiment is the process of updating that frequency through intentional emotional alignment. Ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already mine? Not what would I do, but what would I feel? Safe, empowered, joyful. Then begin to nurture that emotional frequency through conscious breathing, sacred stillness, and self-honoring choices. This is not pretending, it's becoming. You're not faking a new reality. You're calibrating your nervous system to receive it. Here's where inner healing and self-acceptance come alive. You begin to treat your emotional life as sacred ground. You stop rejecting grief or hiding from existential pain. You recognize that heartbreak, loss, and spiritual depression are not interruptions. They are invitations. When met with compassion, they purify your field and expand your emotional range. The more you feel, the more you can hold. And when your energy field stops resisting the emotions of your future self, that version of you becomes fully embodied and fully magnetic. So tonight, when you sit with your desires, ask not just, is this what I want, but is this what I'm ready to embody? The heart doesn't lie. The body keeps score. And only in presence, in stillness, in ritual, in moment-to-moment honesty, can you refine your emotional frequency into a match for your higher reality. This is the posture of the soul, prepared to collapse miracles into form. For centuries, science and spirituality stood on opposite shores, but now these two rivers are flowing into one. Quantum spirituality is no longer mystical poetry. It's supported by physics and biology. One of the clearest bridges is the famous double-slit experiment, a foundational principle in quantum mechanics. When particles weren't observed, they acted like waves, pure possibility. But when observed, they collapsed into physical matter. In other words, observation creates reality. As Proverbs 4:23 reminds us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Where your attention goes, your reality forms. This isn't just theory, it's divine evidence. You're not passively witnessing life, you're energetically shaping it. The quantum field holds all possibilities, but it is your consciousness, your feeling, and your intention that determines which version of reality manifests. Add to that the science of epigenetics, and we now understand that beliefs and emotions can turn genes on or off. Limiting beliefs can affect your biology, but so can mental reprogramming, emotional healing, and daily alignment with your soul's mission. You are not a slave to your DNA. You are the conductor of your energetic symphony. The HeartMath Institute has also proven what mystics have always known. The heart is the command center of the energetic body. It sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to it. And when you enter a state of heart-brain coherence, when your thoughts, feelings, and breath are in harmony, your electromagnetic field becomes powerful, organized, and magnetic. This field can be measured. It expands. It influences others. Through practices like gratitude journaling, guided meditation, and breathwork, you can regulate this field, making your vibrational broadcast clearer and stronger. Jesus demonstrated this in action. When the woman with the issue of blood touched him, Mark 5:30, he said, "Power has gone out from me." Her faith activated his field. It wasn't performance, it was frequency alignment. Her belief collapsed, healing into reality. In the same way, your coherent energy field becomes the invitation for quantum outcomes. The feeling is the signal. The signal is the request. And trust me, the field always responds to clarity. So no, faith is not blind, it's scientific. Every time you regulate your nervous system, every time you align your intention with elevated emotion, you are collapsing potential into form. The moment your mind and heart speak the same truth, the quantum field becomes obedient. And what once seemed like a miracle becomes inevitable. We were taught to chase what we desire, to hustle, to prove, to perform, but in the quantum model of reality, chasing creates resistance. The more you chase, the more you confirm you don't have it. And the universe, fluent only in frequency, responds not to want, but to coherence. When your mind and heart agree, when you become energetically clear, you collapse possibilities into form. This is wave function collapse. This is how reality crystallizes from the field of infinite potential. As Jesus said in Matthew 6:33, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you." Seek alignment. The rest is a consequence. Desire, when anchored in lack, sends mixed signals. You want something, but vibrate in fear. You pray with hope, but walk in doubt. And so the energy field receives confusion. It doesn't punish, it just reflects. It mirrors what's consistent, not what's dramatic. That's why surrender is more powerful than struggle. Surrender isn't giving up, it's vibrational alignment. It's declaring, I trust that what is mine already is. And from that posture of inner stillness, clarity emerges, and clarity is the magnet. Consider Peter walking on water. As long as his attention was fixed on Christ, he remained above the impossible. But the moment fear broke his coherence, he began to sink. That's quantum physics. That's divine law. When your frequency fractures, so does your field. But when you live from your center, from silence, breath, and stillness, your signal becomes strong enough to collapse the version of reality you desire into the now. That's why rituals matter. Every morning, instead of asking, what should I do? Ask, what should I feel? Set your vibrational tone. Journal with gratitude. Breathe consciously. Visualize not the outcome, but the emotional experience of already having it. This is not delusion, it's sacred alignment. When you match your frequency to your future self, reality bends in your direction. The universe is not moved by effort, it is moved by energetic congruence. So pause, breathe, stop chasing, start becoming. Feel the reality of the outcome, not just think about it. And as your vibration stabilizes into coherence, reality responds with precision. You don't force a quantum shift, you allow it. And in that stillness, you prepare for the next revelation. In our human perception, time is a straight line. A past we remember, a future we plan for, and a present we try to control. But in the quantum field, time is non-linear. All possibilities exist simultaneously, like pages in a book already written, waiting for us to turn to the one we are ready to read. Manifestation doesn't happen over time, it happens through alignment. From the soul's perspective, everything is now. And when you truly trust that principle, you step into a state of vibrational trust. You stop trying to rush outcomes and start embodying the version of you who knows it is already done. This is why so many spiritual teachings emphasize the power of stillness, of patience, of waiting without waiting. When you try to force manifestation through timelines, you create friction with the field. But when you embody presence, the field bends to your signal. Trust becomes a stabilizer. It refines your frequency and removes the static of doubt. Remember Isaiah 40:31, "Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." The word wait here doesn't mean passive idleness. It means poised, expectant alignment. A calm certainty that what has been summoned will appear in divine sequence. Energetically, manifestation is instant. The moment you align, it is done. But physical evidence often arrives with a delay, not because the field is slow, but because your nervous system needs time to catch up. This is why emotional regulation is spiritual maturity. You don't panic when you don't see results. You hold the signal. You continue to breathe, to trust, to embody. You live as if. That's the secret, that's the test. And in that consistency, your faith becomes a gravitational force. There is no need to wrestle with the calendar. Instead, master your internal timing. Build the version of yourself that knows how to walk in alignment before the evidence appears. This is what it means to be a spiritual adult. Children demand proof. The awakened create it through frequency. The future is not coming, it's already here. And the you who's living it is already alive in the field. Every moment you spend in presence brings you closer to merging with that reality. So stop measuring the delay. Stop asking, when will it happen? And begin asking, am I living as if it already has? In that shift, time becomes irrelevant. Trust becomes your compass, and faith becomes your evidence. And as this inner foundation strengthens, the quantum field has no choice but to respond in kind. The ego lives in the future. It feeds on the idea that you're always one achievement away from peace. But the soul lives here, in this breath, in this silence, in this now. Presence is the portal to all spiritual power. Without it, your frequency remains unstable, anchored in worry, projection, or regret. But when you return to presence, your signal sharpens, your energy field expands, your electromagnetic resonance becomes undeniable. The kingdom of heaven, Jesus said, is at hand, not tomorrow, not after enlightenment, but now. When you are truly present, you stop reinforcing the illusion of lack. You don't need to visualize the future, you become it. You don't chant affirmations from fear, you rest in knowing. And this knowing is not mental, it's cellular. Your body becomes the testimony of faith. Your breath becomes a prayer. Your nervous system becomes a transmitter of peace. In that state, you are not trying to manifest. You are being a magnet. You're not pushing reality. You're letting it emerge through you. Presence also reveals what's blocking you, the emotions you've buried, the wounds you've avoided, the beliefs you've inherited. All rise to the surface, not to punish you, but to be healed. Presence is not always comfortable, but it is always liberating. Because when you sit still long enough, the soul speaks. And what it speaks is always the truth. You are already enough. You are already connected. You are already whole. This is why so many mystics, prophets, and saints sought solitude, not to escape the world, but to remember the world within. They knew that clarity is born in silence, that answers come not from searching, but from stillness. When your baseline emotional state becomes peace, manifestation becomes inevitable, because peace is not absence, it is alignment. And from alignment, all things are added unto you. So if you feel lost, come back to your breath. If you feel anxious, place your hand on your heart. Speak gently to your body, be kind to your thoughts. And from that space of sacred presence, ask, what would love do now? The answer will rise, and the path will unfold. Trying to change your life without changing your frequency is like trying to change the reflection without touching the mirror. Most people want transformation, but they stay emotionally anchored in lack. They try to change their careers, their relationships, their habits, but underneath, the same identity remains. And that identity continues to broadcast the same signal into the quantum field, attracting the same lessons dressed in different costumes. That's why the work is inner. Always. When you raise your vibration, the outer world adjusts automatically. Your job is not to manipulate circumstances, it's to become energetically incompatible with what no longer serves you. When you do that, old patterns dissolve, toxic connections fall away, and new opportunities flow in, not because you chase them, but because your new frequency couldn't support the old life any longer. This is where micro-transformations matter. The small shifts that seem insignificant, breathing consciously, forgiving someone, drinking water with intention, blessing your meals, these are not trivial. They are vibrational codes. They recalibrate your field in ways that ripple outward into matter. Nothing is too small in the quantum field. Every sacred choice sends a signal. Think of it like spiritual gardening. You don't force the seed to sprout. You tend the soil. You pull the weeds. You water the roots. And in time, growth happens. The fruit of a high-frequency life isn't effort, it's alignment. Your outer world is the harvest of your inner ecology. And when you cultivate peace within, peace begins to bloom without. So don't be discouraged if you don't see change right away. Keep returning to your inner altar. Keep choosing integrity. Keep doing the unseen work, because the field is listening, and when the vibration is consistent, the physical reality will have no choice but to follow. we've reached the turning point. The moment where you stop searching for proof and start embodying the truth. The quantum field doesn't listen to effort. It listens to coherence, to integrity, to alignment. It hears not what you say, but what you are. That's why the final step in manifestation is not a step at all. It's a shift from reacting to radiating, from performing to embodying, from wishing to knowing. This is the sacred activation, realizing that your frequency is the prayer, your breath is the technology. Your presence is the gateway. When you live from this awareness, you no longer need to chase outcomes. You simply stabilize your energy and allow reality to form around it. This is not passivity, it's spiritual mastery. It's the posture of a soul that trusts the process so deeply it no longer needs to prove anything. Embodiment means choosing the energy of the result before the result appears. It means walking like you're already healed, already abundant, already aligned. And from that posture, your actions change. Not because you're trying to manifest, but because you're already living in the manifestation. It becomes effortless, organic, natural. You begin to see signs, feel confirmations, experience shifts, not because you begged, but because you finally became. The field has no resistance to coherence. It flows to it, it mirrors it, it obeys it. And the more you live in energetic truth, the more reality becomes a reflection of that truth. So take a deep breath. Place your hand on your heart. Speak this silently. I am the vibration of my answered prayer. Let it settle. Let it echo. Let it lead. Because now you are not becoming, you are remembering. And the field remembers with you. Around the 442 mark, the video introduces a profound concept. Time in the quantum realm is nonlinear. It's not a line, it's a field. And this changes everything about how we perceive manifestation. Instead of waiting for results in a straight timeline, you learn to tune into outcomes that already exist. This insight invites you to stop measuring time and start mastering your frequency. Because the future isn't something you reach, it's something you match. At 1710, the HeartMath Institute's research on heart-brain coherence is mentioned again, reinforcing the importance of vibrational harmony. When your heart and mind are aligned, when your nervous system is regulated and your emotional baseline is elevated, your electromagnetic field strengthens. And this isn't metaphor, it's science. Your body becomes a beacon. You attract not by force, but by frequency. And back at 512, the video revisits the double-slit experiment, affirming once more that observation changes outcome. You are not just a character in your story. You are the observer shaping its plot. What you see with belief collapses into what you live with form. These aren't theories, they are confirmations. Science is beginning to echo what the soul has always known. You are the creator, the mirror, the messenger. When you align with divine truth, the field responds. When you embody emotional coherence, reality shifts. And when you observe with faith, the universe obeys. So remember, this is not just a video, it is an invitation to rise, to align, to shift. And as you do, your dimension will follow. Now let me ask you something. What part of today's message hit you the hardest? Was there a moment when you realized you've been operating on the wrong frequency all along? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear what opened up for you. Your journey might be the inspiration someone else needs right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and make sure you never miss a moment of truth that could shift your spiritual dimension forever. If you want to go even deeper into quantum faith and divine manifestation, watch the next video that's appearing on your screen right now. It's exactly what your soul has been waiting for. I'll see you there. Stay blessed and aligned.